Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Beth, here to help you fulfill your potential in meditation. As most of you know, I don't have just one method that I teach to everybody, like one size fits all. Instead, I much prefer to teach people one-on-one. And the reason is that you're all different. So please use these videos as a guideline, and if there's anything that isn't quite working for you, anything that doesn't quite fit, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you individually. Today's video is about the importance of sense restraint. Now, I'm sure most of you will be aware through your meditation practice that the mind is incredibly powerfully habit forming. And this means that what we do throughout the day impacts our meditation a lot. If we're running around throughout the day looking at this, listening to this, seeing this, going here, going there, we can't expect to come to the meditation cushion and for our minds to be immediately peaceful. And so we need to learn how to keep our minds relatively calm throughout the day so that when we come to meditate, we can make the most of our meditation time. And one of the ways of doing this is through the practice of sense restraint, which is exactly what it sounds. It means restraining the use of our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, and our body sense, keeping those 5 senses calm so that when we come to meditation, our mind is also more calm. In this regard, the Buddha told this lovely story. I absolutely love this one, and I start a lot of my retreats with this story. And it's the story of the tortoise and the jackal. Now, the tortoise is walking along the bank of a river, chewing on the grass, and the jackal is also walking along the bank of the river. I'm not sure if any of you know this, but jackals apparently like to eat tortoises. So the tortoise sees the jackal coming and draws in its arms and its legs and its head into its shell. And when the tortoise draws in its arms and its legs and its head into its shell, then the jackal can't get at it, it can't attack it. But as soon as the tortoise sticks out one of its arms or one of its legs or its head, then the jackal can grab at it and eat it and kill that poor little tortoise. And so the Buddha said the same thing goes for us with our senses. When we keep our senses restrained, then unskillful states of mind, craving, aversion, delusion, they can't get at us. They've got nothing to grab at. But as soon as we extend one of our senses out into the world, we go out to see something, out to hear something, smell something, taste something, feel something, then those unskillful states can grab a hold of us. Craving, delusion, aversion, they can grab our mind and they can disrupt our peace. Now, obviously, we can't live our lives without engaging our senses at all. In order to live life skillfully, we need to live life with our eyes open, our ears attentive. We need to be able to see and hear and sense things. Otherwise, we'd be in danger. So how do we practice sense restraint in a practical way? Well, the answer is that we can refine the engagement of our senses. And what this might look like, for example, is if we usually like driving whilst listening to music, then we could try driving without the music, just driving in silence. If we've got the habit of watching movies every night, we could maybe try and replace that with a jigsaw puzzle or walking in nature, for example, something which is less coarse on the senses. So refining the more coarse engagement of the senses to things that are more subtle, more calm. If we like eating really spicy, salty, sweet food, we could try keeping our food more simple, for example. So those are some examples of how we can refine the engagement of our senses. But saying this, actually the most important thing to consider when we're practicing sense restraint is the motivation behind our sense restraint. If we're practicing sense restraint with a mind of self-judgment, self-denial, self-recrimination, maybe idealistic thinking, fear it could be, then what we're going to end up doing is building unskillful states on top of more unskillful states. Actually, we can develop a lot of tension in the practice in that way. So instead, we want to approach sense restraint as a gift to ourselves. Because we want to enjoy the peace and the bliss of meditation, we also want to cultivate that same peace for ourselves throughout the day. The Buddha said that if we want big happiness, we need to give up small happiness. Now, one of the reasons that we often go out into the senses is because we believe that there will be pleasure there. And sometimes there is. But that pleasure is what the Buddha called small happiness. Whereas the happiness of meditation is vast, it's huge. There's a remainderless ending of all suffering. So if we want that big happiness for ourselves, then let us rein in the small happiness that we get through the senses. What I would suggest now is that you get off of your screens, get out there into your lives and start putting this into practice. See if you notice the impact on your quality of life and also on the quality of your meditation. If you're encountering any difficulty, if anything isn't working for you, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you individually. As most of you know, I do all of my work on a donation basis, so I encourage you to support me either through Patreon or through my website so that I can continue to make these videos. Thank you so much for your support. Wishing you the best with your meditation.